Okay, so here's the timeline. So Bugatti takes their Chiron, which can do 261 miles an hour, and says it is time. It is time to relive the glory that the Veyron brought for them. It is time to break the production car's speed record. So they extend the body, they get specific tires made for the speed, they upgrade the engine to 1600 metric horsepower, and improve the aerodynamics. And then on August 2nd of 2019, Bugatti takes the Chiron Super Sport 300 Plus and does 304.77 miles an hour. And then says to celebrate that top speed, they're going to make 30 production versions of that car. Now granted, that record was in a single direction, but I'm not here to talk about the legitimacy of the speed run. If Bugatti said they did 304, they did 304. Now will the production version of the car be able to do that? Bugatti's marketing material is very vague on that topic, so honestly I don't know, but again, that's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for is because on June 8th of 2021, Bugatti releases the Chiron Super Sport, which looks identical to the Super Sport 300 Plus, and just about everybody is confused. So are they two different cars? What is the difference between them? Are their production numbers going to be within the 500 Chirons to be made? I'm here to answer every single one of those questions. So first things first, the Super Sport and the Super Sport 300 Plus are two different cars, which is very surprising because if you don't know about any of the things I'm about to talk about, it is very hard to tell the two cars apart, or to even guess that they're two separate cars. When I first saw the Super Sport, I genuinely thought it was just a production version of the 300 that somebody ordered in a different spec. I guess something that adds to the problem is that they haven't built the 300 Plus production models yet, and so when we saw the Super Sport, we immediately thought that it was a production version of the 300. But that's pretty complicated, so here is a way to visualize the entire Bugatti model lineup. So first you have the Chiron, which is the platform, the engine, the chassis that all road-going Bugattis are based on. And from there you have the Chiron Sport and then the multitude of special editions that come from there. Now, if you want a Chiron that is focused on cornering, a track-focused Chiron, you go and get the Pure Sport. But if you want something in the opposite direction, something focused on straight-line performance, you get what we now know as the Chiron Super Sport. The Super Sport 300 is like this holy grail car where they took the Super Sport and took out all the luxury features, all to be able to be the fastest Bugatti that they have ever made. So the 300 Plus is this special edition that gives that little extra to celebrate the top speed that they broke. I was originally going to do a video like every Bugatti Chiron ever, like I did with the Aventadors, but we are a couple years out from the end of Chiron production, so there's probably going to be a final edition and probably a couple more, so I'm going to wait it out before that video comes out. Both cars, the Super Sport and the 300, are going to get a production run of 30 units each, which is included in the total 500 unit run of the Bugatti Chiron, so the production numbers are currently looking like this. The Super Sport is very technically similar to the 300 Plus because they both use the 1600 horsepower engine and both have the same low drag extended rear bodywork. And man, is it just beautiful. I mean, compare this thing to the Veyron Super Sport and it's incredible to see how Bugatti's design language has evolved over a single model of car. There's a long tailing of cars just leads to uninterrupted lines and these crazy overhangs. It is absolutely beautiful. And it was kind of hard to see that with the record-breaking car because all of those lines get lost in the carbon, but this spec, which is a very beautiful spec to debut the car in, it shows the lines wonderfully. It's a great looking car. So what exactly is different from the Super Sport to the 300 Plus other than the badge? Bugatti has not released the technical and performance data on the 300, but they have released the performance data on the Super Sport, so I can't compare them in terms of a technical or performance number stance. But in terms of the Super Sport, it does 0 to 200 in 5.8 seconds, 0 to 300 in 12.1 seconds, and it can do 0 to 400 7% faster than a regular Bugatti Chiron. Also, that last gear is longer than a regular Chiron, so it helps you cruise at higher speeds. The easiest way I found out to tell these cars apart is by looking at their wheels. On the Super Sport, you get these very Audi-looking aluminum wheels, while on the 300, you get magnesium wheels that look like this, which oddly enough aren't the wheels that they used to break the record. Another difference that was pointed out to me by a viewer was that rear wing. On the Super Sport, it works. It is an actual active aerodynamic rear wing. But on the 300 prototype, prototype that broke the record, they took all that active aerodynamic equipment out. They didn't need the weight and they didn't need the downforce. So most likely the production version of the 300 Plus won't have a working wing either. Just a side note, if the production version of the 300 does have a working wing, I think that shows you just how technically inspired the production car is from the prototype that actually broke the record. The final visible difference is the interior. For the Super Sport, we have what we come to expect, this leather-wrapped interior, while on the 300 Plus, to save weight, they've gone with the Alcantara one that you might find on the Chiron Pure Sport. Now, a lot of people are confused as to why this car exists and say that it's an unnecessary model, but I disagree. I think a lot of confusion would have been avoided if Bugatti had done this. They first released the Super Sport, as we've always expected, because look at the Veyron lineup, there's a Super Sport in that lineup as well. And then they take that Super Sport, do the modifications they need, make a prototype, and then go break the speed record with that car. Now Bugatti can say, we made some changes to the Super Sport to be able to achieve that speed, and so to make that available to you guys, and to celebrate our record, we're going to be making a limited edition model called the 300 Plus. Had they have done this, I think people would have been a lot more accepting and understanding of how the Bugatti model lineup works, because what they've done right now is kind of backwards. But Bugatti doesn't worry about the public understanding their model lineup. They worry about selling those cars. And I bet there are a ton of people that wanted to buy a long-tail Chiron that didn't get in with the 300 Plus that now have their chance with the Super Sport. So in terms of what I think about the car, it is beautiful, I want one, and it's probably the Chiron to have. Also, if you haven't heard, there's some crazy Croatians making hypercars that are doing quarter miles in 8.6 seconds, and you can find out all about that by clicking this video right here. Stay driven, guys. I'm out.